Good afternoon. My name is Paul Washington. I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Economic Development, and I'm very pleased to be here today to help the Mayor announce a very innovative and hopefully productive program. The Welton Street corridor is critically important to the area for the city's economic development. Earlier this year, my office published its annual economic development strategy. It's called Jumpstart 2013. We identified not only the Welton corridor as a key area of development opportunity, but also we announced the implementation of what the mayor will talk a little bit more about in depth. That's called the Welton Challenge. The intent of the Welton Challenge is to help spur more private investment activity and property owner engagement in the development of this extremely important corridor. So I'm pleased to be with the mayor today to announce this program. And with no further ado, I'd like to welcome the Honorable Michael B. Hancock.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here this morning. Let me thank Paul Washington for his tremendous leadership here today. I can tell you that as any mayor comes into office, we all have our set of priorities and things that we want to address. Being a child of this community, I can tell you that there is not an area of town that I want to see turned around and begin to flourish more than I'd like to see 5 Points. I'm proud to be standing here on the corner of 29th and Welton, a literal crossroads, to talk about the true crossroads that this historic neighborhood is at today. Denver has an opportunity to renew the entrepreneurial, jazz, and business spirit that is embedded in this area, and weave into that revival our 21st century know-how to create a legacy destination and national model for urban reinvestment. Growing up in this city and in this neighborhood, I find myself almost in disbelief to say those words. I am so proud that such meaningful and sustainable change is at 5 Points' front doorstep. Every single person here today knows that over the years there have been no shortage of grand ideas for 5 Points, with a range of disappointments that have kept the region's opportunity from being realized. Rest assured that we're not here today to revisit obstacles, but simply to rally around an opportunity. So here's what we mean by calling this the Welton Challenge. We're putting out a call for commercial and mixed-use residential projects along this corridor to apply and compete for pre-development grants for planning and design. These unique grants will provide seed money for up to 3 projects to take shape. The first ever Welton Challenge will award funds up to 3 projects in a range of sizes, with the best ideas, including individual business owners as well as collaborative proposals from groups of neighboring property owners or other teams. So why would this approach work? And why here? And why now? Several factors lead me to believe that this is 5 Points' time. Throughout the city, the housing market is genuinely healthy. Today's emerging young professionals are demonstrating that they embrace a centrally located urban environment that is transit-oriented and diverse. We've got deliberative planning on hand, thanks to the 5 Points Business District's comprehensive work on their district revitalization strategy. And while I'm there, let me park long enough to thank Tracey, Winchester, and the 5 Points Business Association for your extremely dedicated and hard work. I want to also thank Will Austin, who is now with the city, but really was the impetus for moving forward with some strategic planning in this area. Thank you as well, Will Austin. And to all of you who sat around many tables in conversation about the efforts. We also have been joined at the city now by Anthony Graves, who has chaired the 5 Points Business Association, is now a regional director. So you are birthing leaders for this city, and you are helping to move 5 Points forward. Momentum is building around a multi-use approach for housing, retail, and business, an approach that is a composite of both new construction and a series of small renovations. This redevelopment approach will act as a boost to help ensure that the best ideas have the capacity needed to actually take form. The grants will fund a wide range of possible early stage expenses and are designed to help support the steps generally required to prove viability and gain commercial investment. I want to once again recognize Paul Washington and the Office of Economic Development. They have dedicated $500,000 in community development block grant funding toward this innovative idea. Denver is the kind of bold, transformational change agent that can spur opportunities when intentional public investment meets broad-based strategic partnerships. So we want to invite all potential and interested parties to go to denvergov.org/OED to get more information. Now, there is someone else I want to acknowledge right now, and I've actually saved him for toward the end of my comments. This cannot happen if you don't have visionary leadership from all parts or all levels of government at the local level. And one true partner and one true caring individual who is dedicated to turning 5 Points around and making sure that it has every opportunity to thrive, just like any other part of town that we might invest in, is your fearless leader, the councilman who represents this area. Of course, that would be the Honorable Albus Brooks. And I want Councilman Brooks, who's going to come up and say a few words. I want you all to understand that this is someone, and having been on city council, I know what it takes. The kind of tenacity and willingness to stand up to your colleagues and to fight for an area to get its equal share. And even sometimes to say it's not about equal share, it's about equal opportunity. And sometimes it's not balanced. One neighborhood might need more services and resources than another. 5 Points is at that place where we need to bring a surge of opportunity to the area. Councilman Brooks gets that. And he has fought and will continue to fight for 5 Points. And so I wanted you all to know that today would not be possible had it not been for Paul Washington and his team of leaders, and Albus Brooks and his tenaciousness and willingness to fight for his community coming together and saying, let's get this done. And so I want to thank the 5 Points Business District for your ambitious vision plan. When we met about a year ago and you shared your plan with us, we said we'd be back with it, didn't we? And so we're back. And we're ready to move forward with you in your partnership and implementation and revitalization strategy. I want to thank all the property owners. I see Ms. Cousins here, Dr. Cousins, excuse me, and so many of the other property owners here, both new and long term, who know that our time is right to find common ground together in this dynamic shared vision. I want to thank all of the public, private, and nonprofit panel of judges that the city is assembling to review the proposals with such a rapid timeline as this fall, for example. And of course, to the Office of Economic Development, to all of the players and hardworking city employees who are here to make this possible. So will you all join with me, now that we've announced this wonderful opportunity coming to 5 Points, join me in welcoming, again, your city councilman, the Honorable Albus Brooks.
You know that something is incredibly important to the city when the mayor comes. And so, Mayor, I want to thank you for coming and giving us a vision of what is going to happen, and that you grew up here and you want to see transformation happen. And so I want to thank the mayor right now. Everybody give it up for the mayor. You know, when you contrast the vibrancy of the past with the vacancy of the present, you see a need for smart and sustainable development in the future. And as I knocked on 14,000 doors in 80205, the one thing that everyone said is, talk is cheap, it's time to do something. And now you are seeing that we as a city are doing something. This initiative right now is to help us reinvest into this incredible street, into this incredible neighborhood, the Harlem of the West. But it's going to take risk, and it's going to take folks stepping outside. For the last year, one of the things that we did was we made Welton for the first time an urban renewal area, giving the opportunity for developers, property owners to have tax increment financing to develop their buildings. And it has been amazing. In the last year, and what we're doing right now is invested 200. How you doing? How you doing? That's a great shot, actually, for all the TV folks right there. But we've invested $200,000 right there at Sonny Lawson Park. One of the things we've just done, and it's under construction right now, is 2855 Tremont Street. We're moving all the DMV facilities over there along with our office. We are making action happen. There are some, and you know who you are because you're in the crowd right now. There are 4 to 5 projects going through the building department right now for mixed-use units on this street. And so action is happening. And so I want to thank everybody for coming together. You know, a lot of people ask the question of how in the world do you capture the history of the past with the vision of where we're going forward? How do you bring it all together? And one of the things we're going to be about in this development is making sure we preserve the cultural integrity of this neighborhood, making sure that we preserve the built environment of this neighborhood, and bring these people together and make sure that whatever the folks on the ground are saying they want, that we give them. And so we're working towards that, and it's happening. And I want to thank everybody for coming out here. And you know what? It's not just articles in the New York Times that get you excited about 5 Points. It's now. The time is now. And I think right now in the next couple of years, you will see more development than you've seen in 5 Points in the last 30 years. And someone who has been excellent on that, and I have had a great time working with her in partnership with her is Tracey Winchester. And she leads the 5 Points Business District. And I tell you right now, if we did not have the 5 Points Business District in place, none of this would be possible. OED leans on the 5 Points Business District. The mayor leans on the 5 Points Business District. And I lean on the 5 Points Business District to make sure that we can get results on this street. So right now, I want to bring up, without further ado, Tracey Winchester, who was smart and brought an umbrella.
Thank you, Councilman. I was a Girl Scout, so I'm always ever ready. I want to thank everyone for coming out today. Thank you so much for being so supportive. This has been a 3-year journey for us ever since the development of the 5 Points Business District under Will Austin. And then when I had the opportunity to come on board in 2012 or the end of 2011, I came on board with a group that is just so dynamic, and that's the Board of Directors. Councilman Brooks is on that Board of Directors. Joel Noble, I think I recently just said, when Joel Noble talks, everybody listens. And so definitely he's been one that I have leaned on through these last couple of years with getting this thing together. And my partner in this, and my staff is a staff of 2, is Nell Washington. But Nell Washington is going to be passing out a little bit of information right here now for you to go ahead and get this report, because this report is the culmination of 3 years effort. You can't do anything unless you plan, unless you strategize and plan, get that vision. That's what Will Austin did, was pull the community together to get the vision plan. And then we had to get a team of experts, urban designers, urban planners, to put that plan in action and put it into a strategy. That was pulled together by Perspective 3. Renee Martinez Stone is the master urban planner for this plan, and you will use this plan to help develop the property here on the Welton Street corridor. I am very grateful to have this plan, and what I want to talk about is the fact that it takes a global village to bring Welton Street back. And what I'm talking about, it took the federal government through HUD, the Housing and Urban Development. They have been very instrumental in providing the funds for this plan, for this strategy, to have somewhere like 7 to 8 urban planners come together. We also are very grateful to the state of Colorado through DOLA, the Department of Local Affairs. They have been with us every step of the way. And including in that is on the city level, led by our mayor, Mayor Michael Hancock, along with OED. Paul Washington, I can't say enough about you and your department. Thank you so much for the support that you have given to the residents, the property owners, the community stakeholders, because this would not happen today without OED here, and OED being that support. James Busby, shout out to you as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And then one last thing. Nothing will happen unless the property owners are involved. And that was the difference in this study. the property owners were involved. They gave their perspective. I'm talking about Carl Bourgeois. I'm talking about Sheila King. I'm talking about Dr. Cousins King. I'm talking about Ada Geller, Steve Shepard, D.C. McGee. I'm talking about this was pulled together by the property owners. The report could not happen unless the property owners were there every step of the way as well. So everyone, please go back in the shade. Thank you so much for coming out. And believe me, if you want to get a copy of this 140-page report, just go to our website and download it. You'll need it for this challenge. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Tracey. Again, I'm Paul Washington, and we do have a little bit of time built for any questions. Are there any questions from the audience?
Paul, what's the deadline for this grant application?
So
When will grants be awarded?
the grant application will be awarded, I think, well, the applications are due October the 28th, and then the awards will be in late November. I'm flipping through the timeline here. I think it's the winners will be announced on and around the week of November the 22nd. All right, if there are no other questions, we will adjourn. Thank you all for coming out.